Alright. Got a quick video about an issue that I found the other day on my Ice Shard sorcerer build here. I don't know if this is actually a bug or if it's just like a very poorly worded passive that's misleading on how it works. Because, yeah, at best, it's misleading. It might actually be bugged. Not sure, but just wanted to shed some light on it, I guess, because it's making a passive that sounds really good, quite a bit weaker than it sounds, and that is this Greater Ice Shards passive, which says while you have a barrier active, cast of Ice Shards treat enemies as if they were frozen. So treating enemies as if they were frozen, to me, sounds really good because I had this passive, and I can just start investing in anything I find that's conditional on hitting an enemy that's frozen. So Ice Shards has a built-in 25% damage multiplier against frozen enemies. I also have points in, I believe this one, Hoarfrost, which gives another 18% multiplier. And you can tell that they're multipliers because they have the little X in a bracket next to the number. As far as I'm aware, at least, that means that they are always a multiplier. And multipliers are strong, obviously. And then I also have this legendary power, which says I deal 50% more damage to immobilized, stunned, or frozen enemies. And if you add all those together, or rather multiply them all together, you come out to about 2.2 times damage, 120% more damage. So clicking this passive, you would think means that whenever I have a barrier active, even if it's something that's not frozen or it's like a boss that you can't freeze, that I should do about 2.2 times damage just whenever I have a barrier. And I pretty much always have a barrier with my character. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I did some testing. Turns out, essentially, what's happening is it does treat enemies as if they were frozen, but only in regards to this passive that comes before it and to the base 25% damage to frozen enemies that Ice Shards has by default. Anything else that's conditional on being frozen doesn't seem to work with this. It's only this guaranteed ricochet chance and this 25% more damage. And I have a clip that I can play from when I was testing it on stream yesterday to show what I'm talking about. So I'm hitting an enemy here. Yeah, I'm playing this at half speed so you can see the numbers a bit easier. I grabbed a really low level weapon to just make it easy so I didn't kill anything. But this is no freeze, no nothing, no passive, just baseline damage. Had to pop a teleporting little back. That 25 is the highest number that we see baseline. So if they're frozen, and if my math is right, and I should do about 2.2 times damage when they're frozen, well then it should hit for 50 to 55 on crits when the enemy's frozen. And I'm about to pop my Ice Nova here and then hit it again. And you'll see almost immediately there's a 55. Like exactly the number that it should be. So all the damage boosts are working. Good. But then I'm going to open up the passive tree. I'm going to click into the Greater Ice Shards upgrade, which again, while I have a barrier, I treat them as if they're frozen. So then when I pop my ice barrier and I have a barrier, I should again see that 55-ish damage because I should treat the enemy as if it's frozen. But that's not going to be the case. I think the highest hit is like 31. 30. The highest hit's a 30. So it's higher than the baseline, which means it was gaining an effect, and I'm pretty sure that that is just the 25% built into the skill. But it's nowhere near the 50 to 55 damage crits of actually freezing the enemy. Which is really unfortunate because the passive, the Greater Ice Shards, if it did work the way it sounds like it should work, where you could get all these conditional, and there's even more conditional things that like on kill for frozen enemies that theoretically you could argue this should have worked for that doesn't work for. Like there's a unique pair of pants that if you kill a frozen enemy, they can blow up in an Ice Nova. And that didn't work, but I kind of figured that one didn't work because they thought it was just too OP or something, or they didn't want it to work with kill effects. But either way, really unfortunate because the passive would be really good. It still is decent. And luckily, at least for Ice Shards, the other passive, which can make enemies vulnerable, is also really good. But, yeah, doesn't work the way it sounds. Hopefully it's a bug and it gets fixed so that it is super strong. But I have a feeling that it's just poorly worded. And they need to describe what it's actually doing better, because if it was indeed able to give you like over double damage from one passive back here, that would be a bit of an outlier compared to most skill passives. Anyway, that's all I got. Just want to show that. Thanks for watching. See ya.